Hi, Shigeko. My name is Ellen, and I'll be correcting this essay for you today. Thanks for your email. Let's take a look at your task. Okay, one, two, all right, 5 paragraphs. It's about ex-prisoners. So let's see what you wrote. I agree with the idea that ex-criminals are good textbooks of crime for teenagers. However, I am a little skeptical about whether people who have been in prison are fully rehabilitated or not. Therefore, some doubts remained. Okay, so let's talk about this. This isn't entirely a paragraph. What you've really just written here is your position. And while your position is necessary and it really should be clearly laid out in the introduction, in and of itself, it does not make an introduction. You need to have at least 1 or 2 more sentences. Typically, what we do is we rephrase the language of the task, and then we include our position. Okay, so it could have been something like, in light of increasing juvenile crime, many people are considering whether ex-criminals are the best people to prevent juvenile crime through discussions and conversations with youngsters. I agree that, with the idea that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You understand? So I rephrased the topic and then I went into my position. So that would be a better way to organize this rather than just going straight into your position. All right. And then here it should have been, therefore, some doubts remain, not remained. Okay. Present tense. So let's continue. First of all, the vital part of having a lecture from the people who have actually been in prison is their reality of experience. I would have said is the reality of their experience. That would have been better. So the reality of their experience, which is meaningful and something normal people would never be able to do. That is a treasure for juvenile delinquency in a way. They have learned a great deal of necessary wisdom in life from the regret of wrongdoings in the past, which resulted in them being taken to prison. Most importantly, the life they have gone through should be a horrible one, so that the whole process can extend to teenagers. I don't understand that sentence. On the other hand, teenagers, especially juvenile delinquents or potential criminals who may one day go to prison, that is why, to prevent them from happening some crime, it is beneficial. Okay, so I thought this paragraph started strong. I thought you did a good job. And then from that sentence that I said was a little confusing, you kind of lost me. You said that the life should be horrible. Are you saying that it is recommended? It is a piece of advice that it should be horrible? So I'm kind of confused about what your meaning is here. And then what does that mean? So the whole process can extend to teenagers. Again, some of this language is not really clear. And then you don't really help yourself because you don't really give us any tangible examples. If you had supported this with some sort of tangible, kind of more concrete example, it would have helped. And then I didn't understand this. So this, on the other hand, what are you saying? Like, are you all of a sudden switching sides, like towards the end of your paragraph? And if so, why? You say they may go to prison. That is why you don't want a comma here to prevent them from committing a crime. It is beneficial. Now, the it here is totally unclear. I don't know what this it refers to. So you have to be very, very clear and careful about this. But again, I don't understand the use of on the other hand. So what I see happening is that you've got this use of a linker here and you've got this use of some vocabulary, which really kind of affects the meaning and it creates some confusion. So you have to be careful. Let's keep going. Teenagers are immature and adolescence is an emotionally sensitive period, which makes them distrust adults in general. Careful. Who is them? I don't know who this them is. I mean, presumably it's teenagers, but you have so many different nouns here that it's not really clear what you're referring to. Most adults preach to them social norms that they have to obey. However, those are just means of societal control, arbitrarily forcing them to do or do not. What a great sentence. It's really nice. Violent teenagers may frequently cause problems in society because they have some reasons to be rebellious. However, many adults refuse to be troubled. So teenagers grow up without discipline, and love is scarcely given by their parents or guardians. Those who actually have gone through the same path can sympathize with the problem kids, hence, they are the best actors. Okay, so what you had in this paragraph is some really lovely language. It was very high level, very natural, really, really, really nice. However, I didn't understand your central idea. So you kind of did this bottom up type of organization, which I really want to recommend uh, not doing because I was reading this and I just felt like it was going on, but I was kind of like, what's the point? What's the point? That shouldn't happen. The examiner should be aware of what your central idea is from the introductory sentence of that paragraph. That's why we call them topic sentences. They essentially tell us what the topic of the paragraph is. And that for me was missing. Okay? So you had it kind of here with this, hence they are the best actors. Then I was like, oh, okay, now I understand. But you really needed to start off your paragraph with the exact same sort of idea, okay? Um, and that would have been really very helpful, I think. But if you want to start with a clear idea so your reader says, oh, okay, this paragraph is going to cover this. This is what it talks about. So you could have said something here like, in many cases, reformed prisoners are the only people who trouble themselves to help at-risk teens. Okay? And then, it kind of feeds into the rest of this paragraph. Maybe that's something that you could have written or something along those lines. Okay? Having said that, to some extent, I think some people are doubtful of having finished their rehabilitation in prison. Okay, wait. Whose rehabilitation? Some people are doubtful of whether ex-prisoners have finished their rehabilitation in prison. You have to be careful. You have to make sure that the thing you're writing here refers to what you actually want it to refer to. Prisons are the best place to get in contact with gang groups. Also, ex-criminals have a hard time getting proper jobs when they get into society. They are often unemployed, so some of them still deal with their previous buddies doing unlawful acts. Mentally fragile teenagers may have the possibility to get influenced by the gang, so those not fully rehabilitated people are not suitable actors. Okay. Um, Again, I think you had some really great ideas here and also some very good language, although some of it was a little rocky here. The problem is the structure. It's not a paragraph that feels really linked. You've got like separate ideas, but they don't all flow kind of smoothly one into the next. So again, I wanted something like, having said that, um, using ex-prisoners in this way can hide certain dangers. Okay? For example, um, prisoners who are not fully rehabilitated may get in contact with gang groups while they are still in prison. Okay? And then here, so, okay. Also, so, okay, they get in contact with gang groups. So what happens? Okay, so you could say that this does not allow them to separate themselves from their previous life of crime, and they continue down this path. This is compounded by the fact that they have a difficult time getting a job. Therefore, in order to make a living, they return to crime. Okay, so you had to make the connection between these ideas stronger. All right, and it's the writer who has to do that work, not the reader, not the examiner. Okay. And you keep using the word actors, but I don't really love that because when we think of actors, we think of, people who act in movies, plays, television shows. So maybe you could have used a different word here. They are not suitable advisors. They are not suitable teachers. They are not suitable mentors, even. Okay, so something like that. In conclusion, I strongly believe that ex-criminals are the best, there's that word again, actor, are the best people to let children know the dangers of committing a crime. I also think that it is one thing to tell experiences without that, and quite another to talk about overcoming negativity. All right, I don't know why you're mentioning this here. It feels like a rather new idea, and you don't want to mention any new ideas in your conclusion. Yeah. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is what we already discussed a little bit, your coherence and cohesion and how it has some issues. And for me, it's probably the weakest part of this essay, which is in a way a very good thing because, in my opinion, it's one of the easiest problems to fix. Okay, so we typically recommend a 4 paragraph structure. And so I don't really think that having 5 paragraphs with 3 of them being body paragraphs is such a great idea. But we can certainly talk about that in the course and through our essay correction packages. So that's what I want to recommend to you. I'd like to see you doing one of those, either the online course or the essay corrections. You'll get lots of information you need on how to improve and on how to write really coherent, really clear, and well linked essays. So see if that's something you can do. I know I'd like to continue working with you. So if you would like to continue this way, let us know, and I look forward to seeing more of your essays in the future. Goodbye.